Hey, so really looking forward to today's live. Got some good energy bubbling up, and we're going to talk about the Clever Clueless single archetype, some recommendations, and also how this relates to your business. So if perhaps this is the first time, you can say, hi, I'm new here, so I can send you a message back later. I'm Jay Diamond. I'm a love and intimacy coach. I'm a dating and love coach. I'm a healthy, sexy love coach, actually, to be precise. And I help purpose-driven women who are 35 plus to clear deep energetic love blocks so that they can ignite their feminine power, triple their confidence, and naturally attract and keep their soulmate. And I've got this amazing quiz. So I was developing this a while ago, and then I started working with someone on some tech things in my business, and we developed this amazing quiz. And it shows you your single archetype. So I've worked with women with regards to relationships all over the world, and I found that there were these 4 categories, these kind of 4 archetype personas that were keeping women stuck in love. So I'll put the quiz in the comments later in case you've not taken the quiz, because it's really interesting. And the 4 single archetype personas are Clever Clueless, which is what we'll talk about today. The next one is the Golden Go-Getter. Then we have the Noble Nurturer, and then we have the Sultry Dreamer. So today we're going to talk about the Golden Go-Getter. No, we're not. We're going to talk about the Clever Clueless. Now, the reason I wanted to start with this one, just pop me a message in the chat box, please, ladies, and say hi. And then hopefully I can see the comments and I can chat with you. And of course, if you want to ask any questions, then please do. The reason that we're going to start with the Clever Clueless is, to my surprise, this was the predominant result. So I can see the results in the back end. It shows me like this, this many Clever Clueless, this many Noble Nurturer, this many Golden Getter, and this many Sultry Dreamer. And I was really surprised that the highest result coming back from the quiz was the Clever Clueless, which is good information for me because it gives me an idea of what more things I can share with you and talk to you about and things like this. So when you sign up for the quiz, you'll get an email. It'll tell you the results, and then you'll get an email. And in the email, there's some information about what you can do, what classes would be good for you, like some tips. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the tips today of what the Clever Clueless can do to develop your relationships if you think this might be you. So the Clever Clueless is the woman who is very bright, very clever. Here's her profile. She's often single for longer periods of time. She finds or feels, so she might get attention from men, but she might not notice it. So she feels kind of overlooked by guys. Hi, darling. She feels overlooked, and she also finds that she gets friend zoned. So the Clever Clueless has this feeling that she kind of gets looked over. And so what happens is often is she, as with many of us, we start to do one of 2 things. Either we start to tell the story that there's something wrong with me, or you start to tell the story that there's something wrong with them. Now, with Clever Clueless, there can be sometimes some like cultural, family, like religious beliefs and background that have kind of informed the way that she feels she should be as a woman, which she might be carrying from childhood or like her teenage years. So, she's come from like a more restricted family, or like it doesn't even have to be a religious belief. It could be that your family talked about, not getting pregnant as a teenager. And so that kind of gave you this distance between you and partners that you're actually still carrying. That happens. We kind of take these beliefs on and we take them into our adulthood. And although consciously we know this isn't appropriate now, subconsciously that messaging is still there. So there can be things like this, or old, like, you know, programming from church about what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, that is actually interfering with you expressing yourself and being seen as a woman, first and foremost. And this is one of the major things for Clever Clueless, which I'll talk to you a little bit more about. So yeah, let's just go into that piece first. So what I find, if I think about my friends who are Clever Clueless, if I think about my clients who are Clever Clueless, sometimes what they can do is when they meet a guy that they like, consciously or unconsciously, they try to mold their energy to match that of the guy that they like. So rather than being a compliment, that i.e. they hold more of the masculine energy, perhaps you hold more of the feminine energy. That's not to say you can't play with polarities, because you can, but you have to be able to know what you're doing first to play with the polarity. What they do instead is they try and make themselves like their partner. And what happens is they get friend zoned. Because if he, you know, the guys that he hangs out with, that he wants to be just like, he's not attracted to. Does this make sense? So, because what we want is this balance between similarity and difference. That there's because you know, when we have shared values with someone, we meet someone, we say, oh my God, they're just like me, and there's this amazing feeling, isn't it? Like, we get on so well, we're interested in the same things, this is so much fun, you know, we're really on the same page. And so we think that by being just similar as a partner, then this is gonna kind of take us through in our relationship. However, magnetism also comes through some element of polarity, which means that there are differences. Now, if a woman is, for whatever reason, suppressing her feminine expression, or like her ability to be seen in her womanhood. So when I talk about femininity, I'm not going to go into all of it here. It's not wearing pink, speaking in a really sweet voice, doing as you're told, and always being agreeable. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, are you actually relating from a man? Because here's what Clever Clueless does. She relates to the man from the head level only, about what's, you know, an intellectual conversation, and about what your shared preferences are, about the adventures that you love to go on. I've absolutely done this, and absolutely got friend zoned, because I didn't want to show the more feminine female side of me. Because of my history, actually, I felt afraid to do that. I wasn't conscious of it at the time, but I actually felt somewhat afraid to do that because I didn't want to be disrespected. So this is what the Clever Clueless has to have a look at, her internal belief system. And sometimes we relate to men in a particular way that's not helpful for us. We hide our shine, our inner radiance, our inner feminine glow, like the vulnerable part of us, the very real and sacred part of us that perhaps you might share with a female friend. You put a blocker on that when you're around men, and you become the funny friend, or the one that just, like, how can I say, one of the guys, basically. You know, you only show that side of yourself. Now, having a side that's like that is absolutely fantastic, because it makes you a brilliant companion. However, what's happening with Clever Clueless is that the other piece is missing. The feminine expression is missing. The allowing yourself to be a woman is missing. And sometimes as I say, this can be missing for various reasons. It might be because in a last relationship, you had a really difficult time. Often there's a fear of rejection with Clever Clueless, because sometimes, like growing up in school or as a teenager, she wasn't the popular girl. She wasn't the kind of traditionally pretty, or good looking compared to the other girls that were around at that point girl. So she has this internal story about herself that she's not pretty or beautiful or attractive enough. So actually beneath the surface, usually when I'm working with Clever Clueless, there's actually a lot of stories about what they believe, about how attractive they are, about how lovable they are. And so because of that, they interact with men in a way that supports their belief system, meaning they don't show the feminine aspect of themselves. They don't connect from a heart level. They just connect from the head. So they're thinking so much about what's the right thing to say, how should I act, what should I do, how should I be, how can I make this work, that they're not natural. So if you're just a bit geeky or a bit of a nerd, you have to own that and be sexy with it. Like, let that be your erotic expression, the sexy nerd. But often what Clever Clueless does is she hides any expression of her sexuality, as I say, for lots of different reasons. So she kind of projects this part of herself that she's a great friend, but she doesn't show the part of her that could be a lover. And often she's, it's been so long that she's done that, she doesn't even know how. She also could be a little bit shy. But what happens is when she's with friends that she really trusts and she really likes, they see a completely different side of her. As soon as a man comes in that she fancies, she shuts down and she starts acting weird. Don't you've ever done that? I know I have. Or you start saying stupid things and you think, why did I just say that? Or all of a sudden you're like, he's so funny, and you're just like, what am I doing? I don't even know, because you're shy and you don't know what to do. And it's like in those moments to just breathe and to slow down and to get into your body. Does this make sense? So one of the big pieces with Clever Clueless is because she's in her head and she's trying to work out what to say and she's fearing rejection and she's got this story that I'm not, good with relationships. She's overthinking what she's saying and she's expressing herself from the head, not from the heart. So the program I would super duper duper recommend for Clever Clueless types is my Dating and Relationship Communication 101 masterclass. Because what that teaches you to do is to, first and foremost, to actually locate in your body what you're actually feeling, which is paramount, because this is your archetype. Okay, interesting. So it's about expressing from your heart what's actually going on for you. Now, if you're a person who spends a lot of time in your head, you got the surface level feeling, mad, sad, glad, but not deeper than that. And the intimacy is when you have heart-to-heart connection with a man. This is when, and with anybody, they can see you more as just what their projection is. They're actually getting to know you as a human being past the sexual connection. Or past what they're projecting about who they think you are. It's like when you're able to communicate from this deep bodily place, the first thing it does is it gets you into your body and you into this deep integrity with yourself. And so you feel different. And when you feel different, you act differently with the people around you. So this ability to express from the deep truth in your body starts with you learning how to actually identify what it is you're feeling, how you're feeling, what it is you want to say. And the Dating and Relationship Communication Masterclass teaches you the methods, and it's a practice, you know, the methods to communicate in this deep, authentic, heart-to-heart way. And when you connect, when you create, and that's how you create emotional connection with a partner or a date. And when you create this emotional connection, that's when these sort of walls start to come down, because when you start meeting someone, both people are a bit nervous, both people are on the best behavior. And what we can tend to do, Clever Clueless can tend to do, is be a kind of bit performative, as in trying to mold yourself. So it comes back to that place again of like trying to mold yourself. What are they going to like? What's the right thing to do? And actually, if you're just focusing on what is the right thing to do, you're not going to attract the right person for you, because they're not the energetic match to who you actually are, what you're actually about, and what you're actually interested in. So you end up attracting these guys who might be really attracted to you, but they're not quite the right match, because you're not being 100% authentic. Makes sense? So by doing this dating and relationship communication class, it's going to teach you how to communicate in a way that just kind of goes much deeper and allows them to open up and allows you to open up. So that doesn't mean you go on a first date and you start talking about all your terrible past. That's not what I'm talking about. But it's a way for you to create authenticity and emotional connection. And that's what builds a relationship. The chemistry can fizzle. And we don't want to get stuck in our head. This is so me. My worst dates, I turn into a fumbling fool. My words get jumbled and I'm just not myself. Yeah. So one of the best ways to combat that, especially when I'm in my head and just don't lean back, I try too hard. Right. I'm really surprised about that with you. So I'm really glad you said that. Thank you. So again, it's sort of one of the simplest things to do is just to breathe right down into your womb. When that comes up, that feeling comes up, it's just you breathe right down into your womb and you lean back. And that's the time where and I don't know if you've already got the communication masterclass. If you have, go back and review it. And if you haven't, think about picking that one up. If you breathe down into your womb and just relax your body and just physically lean back and relax your body. And that's the point at which you can actually say, like, if you go through this process of like, okay, what's going on in my body? So you can either do this for yourself internally and just as you're sipping your drink and looking the other way, and then like, you know, there's a moment in the day where, you know, you're not just constantly talking, just like, okay, to yourself, how am I feeling? You might notice then, oh my God, there's constriction in my stomach. Let me just relax my stomach. There's constriction in my legs. You know, we start to kind of go like this, right? There's constriction in my throat. Let me just relax all of that. And like in seconds, your state changes and it's easier for you to talk. Now, one of the biggest ways that I broke my nervousness, people don't think, because I'm a very outgoing person, but there are some things where I can get very shy. People don't believe me, but it's true. And this can happen to me sometimes, and I'm like, my top lip's sweating. Don't know what to do. And one of the ways that I broke this piece of shyness and embarrassment is to fucking call it out in the moment and just use it as practice. So to say, wow, I'm feeling a lot of nervousness in my body. And I would say this on the day, I'm feeling this nervousness. I feel a bit nervous. And I can feel that my body's tight and I'm talking too fast. And let me just take a breath. And by verbalizing that and sharing that with the other person, it sort of calls out the elephant in the room. It cuts through that tension energy. And again, it creates this heart-opening method, but like this heart-opening level of communication where they just get to see you as a human because you're gorgeous. So guaranteed some of those guys are going on dates with you are also going to be about, oh, what do I need to do? What do I need to say? And when you're just in this state of not putting yourself down, not saying that I'm less than, but just to like notice, to verbalize and notice this is what's going on in my body, it puts the other person at ease as well as you. And when it's out, the elephant in the room is out, it reduces the nervousness tenfold. And somehow you just find your words again. You just kind of find your feet. It's like everything relaxes and it just becomes much easier. So try that next time you're on a date. It's only with guys that I think I see potential in. I may not even like them, but I just want to impress. I do have that masterclass. We'll go back and have another listen. Yeah, so I'll definitely go back and have a listen to that. The other thing for Clever Clueless, maybe not for you, because I know you've got some other bits and pieces you can go back through. But I've got a program called Release, Align and Rise. And that teaches you, just gives you an overview of the power archetypes, which will help you to understand when you are actually acting from a place of fear rather than power. And once you can start to pinpoint, okay, oh my God, what am I doing? All right, this is the thought process. You can start to change it. I tend to be very cool and settled, like playing in my field. Maybe that's a way to hide when I'm insecure. Yeah, probably. So again, looking at you, nobody would ever know, ever think you could even have a single insecurity in your whole entire life. But nobody knows what's going on the inside, and we get very, very clever at hiding how we feel because we want to appear a certain way. The more we can be radically authentic, the more we can build emotional connection with the person in front of us. And if by being real, they don't feel comfortable and they want you to pretend to be someone else, then they're not your person anyway. The right person for you will be all right if you're a bit nervous or you feel a bit insecure. If you're pouring your insecurities onto them, that's a different story. So it's like, this is, what archetype did you find when you did the quiz? Because sometimes what we can do is we can put these walls up thinking it's protecting us, but what it's doing is, well, it's a wall. And we think it's protecting us from rejection, or we think, oh well, if he sees that I'm insecure, he's going to think I'm weak and blah 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 blah. And we have all these stories, and most of them aren't true. And if someone doesn't respect you, then they're the person that you want to be with anyway. It feels like a wall, yeah. So if you're Clever Clueless, Release, Align, Rise is definitely really, really good. And as I said, the relationship and dating communication masterclass is really good, because what that will enable you to do is to feel into your body, because this will come up in your business, you see, again. So to translate to the business, when you've got that wall, this is a wall between you and your clients, and it's like, I want to be seen as being competent. What we do is we hold energetically and unconsciously hold clients away, because we think, well, what if I get it wrong? What if I'm not good enough? You're comparing yourself to other people. Well, they do this and they do this and I'm not good enough for that. But the truth is, you're a perfect match for the clients who need what you need right now. And it's the same in love. But that client or that partner can't see if you're a perfect match if you don't show who you really are. If they don't see who you really are behind the wall, behind the need to impress, it's like your soulmate can't find you because they're looking for the green flag and you're waving an orange flag pretending to be somebody else. Do you see how it works? And it's the same with your soulmate clients. They're looking for the green flag and you're waving an orange one. And behind your back is the green flag, because that's who you really are. and you're turning your back and you're like, nope, I've got my shit together. Nope, I'm perfect. I'm as good as this. And da-da-da-da. And actually what they want is you. Your vibrational match of a soulmate wants you. Your vibrational match of a soulmate client wants you, who you are, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the insecurities, the things you're good at, and the things that you're not so good at. They'll either have another coach or they don't need it. Make sense? So one of the big things for Clever Clueless is to learn about dating psychology with men. If you date men, masculine, and so my work is I work with more feminine energy beings who prefer more masculine energy. I'm not going to go into the big and long and short of like how we go between these polarities, but you know, if you prefer a more masculine energy person, there's a difference with that. We're not the same. We have similarities. We have some things that are the same and other things, again, that are different because we're attracted to what's different. And that means some of our thinking is different, what we value is different, our focus is different. And so the Clever Clueless is either going to try and be one of the boys or treat the man like he's one of the girls and get upset and not understand when he doesn't behave the way that she behaves or expects. So the best program for that is Cherished. The absolute best program for that is Cherished, because I teach you the vibe dating method to magnetize your dream man. And every woman that's been through that program has shifted dramatically how she approaches dating. And I've seen women just like bypass guys that they would have been stuck in situationships with over and over again. Guys that they would have probably not been, they're not quite sure, but they're kind of going into a relationship and it's not the right match for them. But after the vibe dating method, they learn what to spot and what to avoid, and that's why it makes it quicker to get to soulmate. But if you don't understand male relationship psychology, you end up staying stuck in a loop. So the absolute best thing for that is Cherished. That's my kind of top-notch dating program. I've also got, if you're not quite ready for that yet, I've got Get Your Dream Guy Dating Masterclass. So that's like a 4-hour dating masterclass. That's only $197. And that will give you not as much as Cherished, but it's going to give you a really, really comprehensive idea. Well, more than an idea, a comprehensive strategy to date. And then, you know, if you just kind of want to dip your toe in the water and you want an overview, then I've got the 5 love magnets. Hi, darling. The 5 love magnets that drive men wild. That's like £49. Super easy to listen to, and you will get some, you know, amazing insights from that. So that's what I would recommend for Clever Clueless. The other thing is with Clever Clueless is that she can often make herself the wallflower. So she puts baby in the corner. When it comes to being around perhaps a room where there's maybe other women and she feels like she's not the most attractive, or that she feels insecure, or that the guys will somehow prefer other women, or even if there's not another single woman around, but she just feels uncomfortable around guys, what she'll do is like energetically put this protection on, and she will just kind of hang back. Which means, again, she'll lose her voice. So there's one of two things. She'll hang back and she'll lose her voice. And if that's you, I want you to practice having conversations when it feels uncomfortable. If it feels uncomfortable, that's fine. It's just practice. Don't go into any conversation thinking, I've got to impress this guy and I've got to make this work. No, just like, this is practice. That's all you have to tell yourself. This is practice. I'm going to practice talking to this guy and just start a conversation, and it doesn't matter what happens. And as you do that, piece by piece by piece, you'll gain more confidence. Now, if you are the one who does the opposite, is that you throw yourself in to be like one of the guys, notice, like, just start to watch yourself. Am I trying to be one of the guys here? There's nothing wrong with that. But if you fancy someone and you want to create a spark and a connection, that piece is about, am I only showing up as one of the guys, or am I actually able to connect in a more kind of flirty way as well? Clever Clueless is absolutely terrible at flirting. In fact, she probably won't. And some of that can be she doesn't know what to do. And some of it can be because there's a judgment. There's a judgment about being a woman. There's a judgment about how you fear you might be seen, or that you might not be taken seriously. Or that, you know, the guys that you're around might be rude or disrespectful or think less of you somehow if you allow that feminine aspect of you to be seen. Does it make sense? I'm telling you these things because in my private sessions with clients, this is what I hear over and over and over again. It's not coming, I'm not making this stuff up. It's not coming from nowhere. It's coming from talking to, you know, women all over the world. So those are my recommendations for you. So when it comes to your business, one of the things that you don't want to do is to try and make yourself exactly like your targeted client, your potential client, meaning that you do everything that you can to make them think that you're exactly the same, because in that instance, they're probably not going to want to learn from you. They might follow you on social media. And even though you have lots to offer and lots to give and lots to probably share and teach, if you just be the friend, only show that aspect and not the other aspect of you, which is actually, this is what I've got to offer and this is the transformation that I offer with women and this is my experience, then they're just going to see you as a peer friend that they don't want to actually spend any money on. They'll just want free advice. Because you put yourself forward on a business level, only the aspect that's a friend. So again, it's about not taking this away and saying, oh no, you can't do that, you've got to do this. It's about adding in the other aspect of you, the sexy aspect of you. In terms of business, the sexy piece of you in business is you who's got something to offer, who knows what she's doing, who's had great transformations with clients, who is visible, who is, able to reach, that you're online and that you can actually be seen and you're not hiding in the background saying, why aren't clients signing up to all my programs, when you're not putting yourself forward. You're hiding in the background wondering why your business isn't growing. And it's the same with Clever Clueless. She sits in a room full of potential men and she hides in the background energetically, even though she's in the same room. But energetically, she doesn't want to be seen. And so she doesn't get seen, or she just gets friend-zoned. Which is a shame, because Clever Clueless is amazing with a brilliant heart, and all of her friends know how lovely she is and how much fun she is. So it's about transferring this now into your love life and into your business. So what I'm going to do is in the comments, sorry, there's a fly. What I'm going to do is in the comments, I will put a link to Release Align Rise. I'll put a link to the Communication Masterclass. And I've also got a free masterclass coming up called The Sweet Spot, which is about business, which is about calling in your soulmate clients. So if you want to do that, you can sign up. Any questions, pop them in the chat box. And I will also put the link to the quiz as well, in case you haven't taken the quiz. I'll put that in there as well. Okay, so I hope that was helpful for you. If you think that anyone in your network would benefit from hearing about this, then please do share the video. That would be super duper helpful for me. And we can get them to take the quiz and they can get some recommendations. I'd be really interested to hear what your results are. Okay, sweetheart. So I'm sending you lots of love. Bye-bye.